I remember when imaginary separation was believed in, it was exceedingly painful. Not only was the stream of perception constantly labeled as me or not me, all sight, sound, taste, touch, bodily sensation, all feeling, thought, everything was labeled as either helpful or harmful to this isolated individual. It felt like there was a kernel of something here and an alien world out there, like you're battered about like a ping pong ball by unseen forces, and you never know what's going on and you never know what's going to happen, but you're ready. You're always really tense because you're afraid. Oh my, I was so afraid. I was afraid of the stream of perception. I was afraid of people, and I was afraid of myself. It wasn't utterly obvious, but inside, oh, I was really afraid. And so there was a constant questioning going on, like, where am I on this timeline between birth and death? And how am I doing? Am I good enough? Or maybe I'm not good enough. The standards, of course, were always changing, but generally I really wasn't good enough. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to be good. I didn't even know what good was, but I wanted it. And there's a constant, how am I? Where am I? Who am I? Always trying to label yourself, like some people always do those quizzes in magazines. What kind of person am I? So you're always trying to figure out, who am I? And of course, there's always the why am I? Why am I here? Wow, something this big must have some kind of a purpose or meaning, and you can even come to the conclusion that it's meaningless, but that's still in a way kind of a meaning, isn't it? Or if there's no purpose, well, that can sink in, because you see people die and you see that everyone's gonna die and everyone will be forgotten, and everyone you've ever loved will be forgotten. And so it's a constant painful whirlpool of all these separate things and events, like jabbing you, just right in the heart. Oh, it just hurts like hell, because it's like the sky has broken into a gazillion shards, and every one is like a knife just piercing your heart, and it really hurts. So perhaps you have glimpses. When I look back, it seems like I was always having glimpses of this knowingness of no separation. You want that, you want the more, you want more of that. And so you start perhaps the spiritual search, learning from books, other techniques, reading things, listening to things that maybe will leave your mind hanging for just a second, your hands off those handlebars. And you crave it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. And maybe you have more glimpses that maybe perpetuate the illusion that you can do something to make this happen. So kept doing it, and I don't know why or how, but it just happens sometimes that all efforting or trying to effort just stops. And you realize that this separate self was the efforting, it was the trying. And after this shift, when it's realized there are no separate things, there never were, no separate moments, there never was time, there is a huge relaxation. They say it's like a heavy load dropping to the ground, and it is, because the efforting's gone. Before it's constant effort, and then there isn't any efforter. There's no trying, there's no trying to grasp, there's no trying to do, there's no next. And yet the self remains. I'm still here. But it's never taken personally. It's always known to be made up. You just know that there never were any mountains, and there never was anyone on a timeline. And yet you also know that you will die, and everyone you have ever loved will die and be forgotten. And somehow that impermanence that you feared so much before becomes the most beautiful, beautiful jewel. This fleetingness, this unspeakable mystery of life, seeing, touching, tasting, feeling its own aliveness through you.